Welcome back, everybody. It's the Ecom Dispensary. It's knowledge drop number, is this 43? I think it's 43. Episode number 174. This was a subscriber question recommendation from the boy Vitruvius, who asked something along the lines of, should you get a business partner or should you build it on your own? And he's basically asking, well, actually, I don't have to basically tell you. I think this is the actual message I have right here. I can read it to you. He said maybe something about why/how you guys decided to partner in business. What's the benefits of that? What are your thoughts on that, etc. Yeah, that was the pretty simple. That was the concept. So we wanted to take a little bit of time and talk about how we kind of feel about partnering in business, whether or not it's a good idea, depending on your specific situation, how me and Scotty feel about our partnership and why we think that that's been a good move for us. And just talk about this a little bit, because I think this is something that a lot of people are kind of interested in. You want to start a business, but like, do you want to do it all on your own? Maybe a business partner would be a good idea. Maybe it wouldn't be. And I think we can kind of give some guidance along those lines, because we have experience. We've actually, we've both done both. We both built our own businesses on our own, and we both built businesses together. So let's talk about it, Scotty. Let's talk about it. Should you partner with someone or not?
I think starting out, you probably want to do it alone, at least try to do it alone. I think the worst thing you can do is have two inexperienced people partner together. People have this idea that they want to have a business partner and they start something with their buddy who also has no idea about anything, doesn't know shit about fuck, as they say. And I just don't think that ever really works out well. One person's more into it than the other. One person sticks with it, the other person doesn't. Just like two people who don't know what they're doing doesn't add up to more than one person who doesn't know what they're doing. You can debate stuff and discuss ideas and whatever, but two idiots or like unknowledgeable people discussing something doesn't lead to a better result than one person just making a decision.
Yeah. There's a saying that's like two heads is better than one, but not when neither of those heads knows anything about what they're doing. You're both just chicken with your heads cut off, not knowing anything. Two is not better than one in that situation.
Yeah, and it can get in the way of moving fast as well, where it's like you end up discussing stuff instead of just one person makes a decision and does it. So in that sense, I think don't partner with another beginner. You do not need a business partner by any means. It can be good. It's been good for us. But if you're asking this question, you probably don't have a business partner. If you had a business partner and it just made sense, then it makes sense. But you don't need to go looking for one just for the sake of having one.
Yeah. I've really never seen it work out because in the context of what we do with ecom, I think the most common situation is like, two friends get into this stuff and they want to start a store together. And to be honest, I've never seen two beginners who are just getting into it start a successful store together. I've just never seen it happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I know a case myself. Yeah, I'm struggling to think of anyone. I guess we had
those dudes in the mentorship program. I don't know if I want to say the name of their brand, but the dudes from are they from Spain or Portugal?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they were beginners or not. They started a successful brand. That was three of them. That was definitely an interesting case, but
that's true. That's one case. There's also our old partners, the Ecom Sharks. Although, yeah, I guess that was sort of more media buying, ads management is what they did together.
Yeah. That was also, I would say that was a slightly different situation where they're literally like blood brothers. Like they are so close and so tightly knit, like their family. That's like, I feel like also a lot different than just starting a business with your buddy. Like they would die for each other,
Yeah, for sure.
That's a bit of a different situation.
Yeah, it's true. I guess other than the example of two people who don't know what they're doing, there could also be the situation where you as a beginner, probably not complete beginner, probably you have a little bit of experience doing something, but you get an opportunity to partner with someone that's already successful. And I think that can be great, but again, I've just seen it go badly so many times where it just doesn't work out. The experienced person isn't actually committed. It's a side project for them. You as the noob end up doing all the grunt work, which is what it should be, but the other person just doesn't really bring much to the table because they have experience, they have valuable info, they know a lot more than you do, but they're just not focusing on it. And if you're not, it doesn't matter how much you know, if you're not focused on it, you're not going to move the business forward much, especially in the early stages. Like once you get traction, getting an experienced person to look at your things and give you input and give you suggestions can have huge leverage. But getting something off the ground, you need to just dig in deep and grind it out and figure out how to make this shit work. And experience helps a little, but it doesn't help as much as it would later. So again, sometimes you might be faced with an opportunity that's too good to pass up, where you can partner with somebody who's super successful and you look up to, etc. It's just too good to pass up. But again, I haven't seen a great deal of successful examples of this.
Yeah, I can't say I have either. I think that the reason that would make sense is if you were able to use that to kind of like learn from them, and it was almost like more of a mentor type relationship than a business partner type relationship. Or if maybe like the other person was bringing, if there was a situation where you needed $100,000 or $1 million to start whatever venture that you want to work on, and you just didn't have the money, but you could partner with someone who did have that money and could basically just throw you the money and you do all the work. Yeah, maybe that could work out. But yeah, I mean, I would agree that even that, I think like that situation where inexperienced partners with someone who is experienced and has resources and connections, like that's definitely better than the first part where we're talking about, two people who just don't know what they're doing, both don't have experience, both don't have, connections and resources, etc. But I also don't think that's necessarily the ideal situation either.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think sort of the most logical partnership is when you've got two people who bring something different to the table. I guess what you mentioned is a pretty classic example. If you have the entrepreneur and you have the person giving cash, that's, a classic example of a partnership. Other classic examples are like in a software biz, you'd have a marketing guy and you'd have a developer. You got the nerd and you got the fucking sales guy. I guess that's with one of my businesses. I'd be the marketer and my partner is sort of the product guy. He makes product formulas. Like I can't do what he does and he can't do what I do. Very different to the two beginners starting something together where nobody can do anything, but also they can all do everything the other guy can because nobody knows shit. You both have niche knowledge of different types that when put together might be able to create something awesome that neither of you could do on your own. Those partnerships, I think, can be super cool. I think those are probably the most logical partnerships, probably the best time to partner. The only thing about it is maybe as a beginner, it's a bit too complex of a business to start. Because what are you going to say? Like, you're not going to partner with a guy who doesn't know how to code and have him be the developer. You're going to want to have an experienced developer if you're going to partner with somebody. And an experienced developer isn't going to partner with you if you don't know shit about marketing and have no experience. So if you have no experience, again, I think it might be hard to find somebody who's willing to go in with you, at least somebody that you'd want to partner with. They probably have better options than you if you're a complete beginner, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. It's just, it's rare. I think generally speaking, it's like not that common to have a situation where it really makes sense to, have a partnership, because when you're just getting started, like you want to be the guy who knows and is able to do pretty much every aspect of the business, whatever business it is. When it's, if it's e-com, you don't want to enter into a partner relationship from the beginning and say you do the media buying and they do, all the back end product stuff, or they do, product research, whatever it is. Like when you're getting started in ecom, you want to have a base level knowledge of every aspect of the business so that you can use that, for future ventures, so that you can just run the business successfully as is. I think you're really handicapping yourself if you get a partner from the beginning and you guys have like different roles. If you don't learn that role, of your partner, like you should really at the beginning be kind of a master, not a master, but you should like have a base level knowledge of all the roles that go into, running that kind of business.
Yeah, especially with what we do, none of it's rocket science. It's not like it's going to take you years to figure out the basics of it.
Yeah. I think there's also the aspect too, where, and I think this is something that me and you, Scotty, like, I don't know if it's something that we struggle with, but I think it's something that we need to keep an eye on. And, when you have a partnership, there's this kind of phenomenon that happens where you'll decide on something or you'll have an issue and you'll need to make a decision on something. And because there's two of you guys working towards it, you'll end up taking way, way, way more time to figure that problem out than it would if it was just one person. And then oftentimes, like, if you're not clear with the roles of who's supposed to be doing what, then sometimes stuff just doesn't get done. And like, I mean, I think that that's happened with us. I've certainly been guilty of that in our partnership before with, certain things we've been working on in our business that have just not really ended up getting done. I think that that's kind of like when you are working on your own, it's all on you. You don't have anyone else to fall back on. You don't have anyone to blame if something doesn't work out, if something doesn't get done. It's all on you. And I think that that's really key, because that's like the entire point of business is like, it's all on you. So if you don't have that from the beginning, it's going to be tough to kind of manage that with a partnership, I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's certainly true. I feel like the same thing kind of happens when you're on your own though, where you decide to do something, it just doesn't get done. And obviously there's no one else to blame, but you run into the same issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. None of us are perfect. You're not going to be a robot that just executes everything to the T perfectly every single time, but you can try to get as close as you can.
Yeah. I think in terms of, I guess, to give some backstory on how we partnered, why we did that, etc. I think we're a somewhat unique situation because we had been working together sort of loosely for I want to say 2 years-ish.
At least a year.
No, like I guess a year, and then we did Blue Ocean together. And then 2 years before we did ecom together. So we'd started out both with sort of our own ecom stores, both with our personal brands on Twitter. And we had an affiliate relationship where you promoted my affiliate product and made a shit ton of money with that. So we had a working relationship before we partnered on a business. And then from that affiliate relationship to just saying, hey, we're going to make a product together and we're going to partner on this info product business, it wasn't a huge step. It was a logical smaller step. And the reason we did that at the time, I believe was, or not, I believe it definitely was, because we had an idea, a vision for something that could be bigger than our own two little Twitter followings, essentially. A product that required paying highly skilled people a fat salary to create something super cool. And
for anyone who's been around for a little bit, what we're talking about here is the Boss Builder program, which is no longer around, but was a pretty successful program while it was around.
Yeah. And that required paying fat salaries for multiple months before we ever released a product, before we ever made any sort of money from it. And it just kind of made sense doing that together. There was a lot of moving parts. There was a lot of there's a lot more work involved in it, frankly, rather than just selling an info product and being done with it. There was extra live calls. We had to manage people who were creating these builds for us. We had to check their work. We had to upload it. We had to get customer service on deck, etc. There was a lot more moving parts and a lot more risk involved in it, in the sense of expenditures before we ever see revenue. So it kind of made sense to partner up for that. And I guess kind of in the same vein is why we partnered on ecom later, about a year later. I had someone who I thought had a lot of potential as a marketer, who I was just talking to, coaching a little bit via emails. I thought he had a lot of potential and I wanted to hire him full time to manage all my ads and run stores for me. That was quite a big step. And I didn't feel entirely confident in committing to that salary and essentially telling this young person to trust in me. I will take care of you. And also there was only like 1 or 2 offers I was running at the time. So I wasn't sure if it really made sense to hire someone full time. And I think that's where we came up with the idea to partner, run our stores together, sort of combine our ecom projects and have this little team manage it. I had support staff already. We'd be able to use the support staff from your stores. We had this young marketer who we wanted to pitch it to, and he would be able to run both of our stores instead of just one of ours. So that's kind of why we did that. Again, it was kind of a risk mitigation thing, where it would have been a big risk just with 1 or 2 offers running to hire that guy. Whereas if you have 3 or 4 offers, you got 2 people fronting the bill if we ever do make a loss. It cuts down your risk a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a shame the store that I brought to the table with that, we ended up having to shut down just because of like compliance issues with Facebook. And then we ended up, the brand that we're running now is the one that Scotty had brought when we partnered up originally. And that was almost 2 years ago now. And still going strong, man. Still going strong.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, obviously I give up equity in that store that I'd started. But and again, in theory, could we have done all of that without Nate, just me and the young guy partnering? Yeah, for sure. But would I have hired that young guy? Maybe, maybe not. Would I have been comfortable with that risk? Maybe, maybe not.
Not your risk averse ass.
Yeah, I'm pretty risk averse in that sense, and cost me equity. But then the business has grown however many hundreds of thousands of percent since. So if you have less equity in a much larger business, I'm not too upset about that. And it's also a thing where cutting a check to Schmitty doesn't exactly hurt. Cutting a check to our boy Joshua doesn't exactly hurt. So we all get paid. And that's good.
We do. We all get paid, and this is like not a good reason to partner with someone, but it's more fun. It's more fun when you're working with a group of people that you enjoy working with, talking to, and you just kind of all get to work on the same project that you all reap the same rewards from. And it's a beautiful thing.
That it is, especially this weekend of the year.
Yes,
when
sir.
Black Friday pops off and you got your bros on a call and everyone's fucking giddy. Joshua can hardly sit still, jumping out of his seat. We're recording this before Black Friday, so we have no idea if any of that's going to happen. But if it does happen, it's going to be fun.
Yes, sir. We shall see. We shall see. If it doesn't go as we planned, then we're going to keep on keeping on. And that's just how it goes.
Yeah. And then also, I think as it's worked out, I guess on paper, you would say me and Schmitty kind of have the same skill set. We were both running e-com stores ourselves. We've both done email marketing for our personal brands. We've both essentially done the same things. From a big picture, sort of, if you wanted to put it on a resume, I guess we'd have the same skill set. But personality-wise, we're quite different and we're good at different things. I'm a lot more risk averse than Schmitty. Schmitty has a much better pulse on what the American idiot consumerist culture wants to buy. Much better pulse on that than I do, being American, obviously. And yeah, it just kind of works out. I'd say probably better at managing people, being patient with stupid VA stuff. So it kind of works out. And we also, know each other pretty well at this point, try to keep each other accountable, call each other out on our bullshit when necessary. So for us, it's worked. And I think, I mean, I guess every other partnership I've had, except for with you and Johnny, has failed. But I think we've parted ways, or I've parted ways with everyone on pretty good terms. It usually was just the fact that the business didn't work out as well as we'd hoped. So you end the partnership. It was never that the partnership was an absolute disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't had an experience like that either. And I think if you're like a decent judge of character and you're also like a decent person yourself, there really isn't a whole lot of reason that a partnership should end because it just like went down in flames and like you guys had like a fallout in your own personal relationship. Like even, just like Scotty was saying, the partnerships that I've had in the past that didn't work out, like I'm still on fantastic terms with everyone involved. And, would we have liked to see things go better with, the things that we worked on together? Yeah. But sometimes that's not how it works and you move on and that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, granted, those are two big ifs. You need to not be a dipshit and you need to not partner with a dipshit, which when you're networking with fellow 17-year-old dropshippers might be somewhat unlikely that neither of you are a piece of shit.
Yeah.
No offense.
No offense. No offense. Yeah, I mean, that's why I think it's so great. Like just the community of people we've met through Twitter. It's 99.9% of the people are all extremely high quality people. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, that has been episode number 174. Our take on should you have a business partner or should you build it on your own? In most cases, you should probably build it on your own. There are situations where it can work out, but we kind of laid out the guidelines, what we think is the situations where it does not make sense. So do with that what you will. And we'll talk to you guys in probably, I think this is going to be honestly one of the most valuable episodes we put out in quite some time, at least like in terms of specific ecom tactical value. That's going to be the next episode, number 175. We'll talk to you guys there.